So do you feel like sometimes it's just not okay to be okay? It's not okay to have like a great life or shine or show up fully or be the person that you feel inside that you are. I think there's a way that we are really encouraged to dim our lights. We really do get taught to dim our lights. I'm Deb Blum, and this is the Inside Out Activism Show. So I was listening to my friend's new podcast, and that's part of why I'm on here, is I want to tell you about my friend Tia Fagan's new podcast called Masks Off by Tia Fagan and her friend Kim. Okay, so what really got me wanting to get on here, though, is for one, I love Tia, and I think she's great, and I think you should listen to her podcast. But for two, I wanted to read a quote that that they said in the first episode. The quote is by Alicia Keys in her book, More Myself. I have not read the book, but it says this: "It's how we women are brought up. Don't take credit. Don't outshine others. But there on the couch, it hit me that my alleged modesty was just a disguise, a mask for a lack of worth. It was a huge revelation." Can you relate to that? Oh my gosh, I so can relate to that. Well, I can relate to it, but I had this interesting dilemma. I had a shadow that I was too big, too much, too exuberant, I had too many questions and too many things to say and too much energy. And so I had that side of me, which was a shadow side of me, which is the side that was like Deb, temperate. Okay? And then there was the other cultural side of it, which was there is an expectation around women, not all women, but many women, to if a woman gives a compliment, you're not really supposed to fully take it. You should give her back another compliment. You don't want to shine more than another woman. And there was another part of me that also really, when I saw that was an expectation in the world, I did not like that. I really pushed up against it. But because I had this interesting stew of a little bit of shame of being too exuberant and shining a little too much, coupled with my own inner sense that I'm not good enough, a lack of self-worth. And then there was also the other dynamic going on, which was the expectation to play small, like the expectation in the world to play small. And then let's add one more to it, which was my family's expectation was that you play small to stay safe. Like you don't put yourself in situations where you're going to get called out or that you're going to be embarrassed or humiliated. Now for me, my path was definitely not that path. My path was set up for me to have all kinds of trials and tribulations to get to the place where I am right now, because here I am launching a YouTube channel. So clearly I am willing to shine. I'm willing to shine now. Now, that doesn't mean that I always feel willing to shine, and that doesn't mean that I don't have my own struggles with it and my times when I don't want to push an edge and where I hide behind things. There's no question. And that's what their whole podcast is about, is masks, the ways that we hide, the way that we protect ourselves, we disguise ourselves. And the fact that we often as women do that. We will self-deprecate. We will not say. I cannot believe the number of women who will get together and talk about all of the things that are problems in their lives, but they don't talk about all the great things in their lives. They don't talk about how there's this fear of being a bragger. When I run circles, I invite them. When we go around the circle, you don't have to just tell us something that is going on in your life that's bad. You can tell us things that are going great. You can be proud of yourself. You can be proud of your kids. So this idea is so powerful and so amazing. And that is why I want you to go over right now, grab your phone, go into the podcast app, find this podcast called Masks Off. No, don't find the one that's Masks On. Find the one that is Masks Off. And it looks kind of cool. It's got like a woman with face paint that's green and some green in her hair. And so you'll know it right away with Tia and Kim. Subscribe to it and take a listen. see if you can relate to it and feel into whether you are wearing masks. Are there ways that you are not fully showing up? Are there ways that you hide? And this is just one example of a mask, right? There's just one baby example of a way that we don't show up fully. And I knew when I heard her talking about this, I was like, that is so me. That is so me in so many ways, or it's me fighting against it. I have had that inner battle of like, kind of like, so totally falling into the people pleasing in this place of wanting to be, I don't want to be judged or rejected or mischaracterized or misunderstood. I don't want to hurt other people. So that kept me playing small. And then there was this other part of me that was like begging, like, please let me out. I am here to shine. And that's what I know you have two of those too. You have both in you. And my invitation, shine bright. It's okay if you're shining bright and other people aren't. It's even okay if people get a little uncomfortable with it. Think of it this way. When you shine, when you show up fully, when you stop playing small, you give other people permission to do that too. You give your kids permission, you give your friends permission, you give your partner permission. So it's uncomfortable for people because they're used to the way that you've always been. But when you do it, and it kind of is a little bit like sandpaper on them, it's just part of them that's being just a little bit like smoothed, some edges, and saying, you can have this too. So every one of us that shines our light, shows up more fully, plays bigger, gives permission to other people to do it. So please don't dim your light. And please watch for the places where you put on masks to play small, to stay safe. We all do it. It is the human condition. We all just have different ways we do it. Some look the same and many look very, very different, but it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't matter. Just acknowledge, yes, I put on masks. I try to play small. I'm afraid to show up fully. I'm afraid of what women will think if I play too big. I'm even maybe afraid of what men will think. I'm afraid of the labels and the judgments. It's true. We do actually have to overcome some of those fears, the fears that people will say things about us. But at the end of the day, what they say about us is much more about them than it is about us. And if it bothers us, that's more about us, and we get to do our own inner work. It's just another opportunity to find another little place in us that has us thinking we need to play small and thinking we need to stay safe. And we get to uncover that, reveal it, and take off yet another mask. So check out that podcast. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. These two women are the real deal, and they are going to, I hope, show a lot of other people what masks they're wearing and offer them the invitation and the permission to take off their masks and show up more fully and live this life more amazingly, fully, beautifully, as we are meant to be. If you want to actually find a link to the podcast that I referred to here, the Masks Off podcast, please go into the show notes and it's there. And if you enjoyed this episode, please click the like button. Always feel free to add a comment, share it with somebody else. And as always, if you haven't already, please click the subscribe button and the little bell next to it if you want to be notified. Thank you so much.